What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Empire YouTube channel. Today we are taking a look at the 151 set. Now, as you can see down in the bottom, we do have Zach here. Zach's going to be going over the whole entire set with us. So this is going to be more of a podcast style episode. We're just going to be, spending time talking about all the cards, maybe go off script a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen, but we got a lot of cards to go through. And we're going to fully break down everything that we think can be beneficial. Now, keep in mind that this segment is going to be called the Slide or Sleeve podcast. So it's going to be determined on if we slide it in the binder or put it in a sleeve to play it in a deck. So without saying much of else, let's just hop right into it. Zach, what do you think of Venusaur EX?
I think it could have been better. 3 energies for 150 and then being confused and poisoned, like confusing the defending Pokemon and poisoning it. It's not bad. They're taking, it's effectively 160, 170 if they don't heal it by the time it comes back. I just don't think it's good enough. It's got a 4 retreat. Its ability does kind of make it tanky, so because like it's got 340 HP, and then if it's in the active, you can heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. So like you could kind of make like this bulky Venusaur deck, but I'm not sure it's gonna have much of an impact. It can't even one-shot the Para Charizard, which is kind of awkward. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's that good personally.
I mean, you could run Vitality Ban and then you one-shot Charizard.
I guess, yeah, after the poison you would one-shot it. So maybe it might be experimented with, but I'm probably sliding it into the binder.
I feel like, yeah, sliding it into the binder's probably a good idea. Because, I mean, you could play it with the same thing as kind of like the engine for Toedscruel. Where when it's a Bulbasaur, you attach all the energy with, what's it called? What's the grass?
Cherim.
Yeah, the Cherim, but I think just in that factor, like, yeah, it hits for weakness, but it's not good in any other matchups. And not to mention, too, like, if Toedscruel becomes a thing in anything, you don't have access to being able to paralyze or poison. So you're just doing 150, which isn't enough. So, but
Yeah.
this Charmander, on the other hand, we were talking about it a little bit before, but the Blazing Destruction with being able to discard a stadium, I feel like that's super solid with being optimal inside Charizard, especially because Path to the Peak is really annoying, and so it gives you kind of an out the turn that, before you need to get rid of the path. You can, attack with it and then next turn evolve, providing that they don't KO it, but I think it's pretty good. Do you think it'll become the most optimal one, or do you think we'll see splits like with Gardevoir?
I think for sure this is definitely going to be considered the optimal one. I don't know if the other Charmanders have a place as being like one-ofs, but this Charmander, not only has, to me, what is the best attack, but it also has the most HP and the same retreat cost. So that means like if you start with it, you can still get that like pivot into Mew or something like that, but you're gaining that extra HP, which can be relevant against something like Lost Box. And then you can actually even do some kind of like fun plays where like you can play Artisan, grab like a Pidgey or another Charmander, and then just leave this Charmander in the active and use the Blazing Destruction to discard the Artisan so your opponent can't use it. So I think this Charmander by far is going to be the most optimal one to play.
And next to it, the Charmeleon. Does the Charmeleon that everyone plays now have 90 HP?
I think, I'm actually not 100% sure.
If it does have 90 HP, let's look this up. Again, it's a podcast style episode, so we're gonna go off script for a sec. Charmeleon. I don't want the base set Charmeleon. The Pokemon Go one has 90 HP, and let's see. Yeah, I think it does have 90 HP. I mean, considering that it's a middle evolution, I mean, I don't think it really matters. I think this Charmeleon might be a bit more optimal to play, just in the sense that, if you can't find Manaphy and you're going against something like Chin Pao,
Hmm.
you can, if you can't find the rare candy in a Charizard, they can 90/90 the two Charmeleons if you have two in play. So I think the 10 might become, the extra 10 health might be relevant. And if for some reason, in Charizard you're playing Vitality Band or anything, Charmeleon can actually one-shot Genesect, which is kind of not reliant, but it's kind of reliable if you're in a situation where, you don't want to leave a two-prizer in the active. So, I mean, I could see
Yeah,
it. The two retreat,
I
though.
think the Charmander and the Charmeleon for sure are definitely probably going to be sleeved up
Back
and become optimal.
back to the Pokemon Go Charmeleon. I mean, it has two retreat as well, and it does, for 4 it does 100, and then you discard a fire. But I feel like paying 3 and a Vitality Band to guarantee a knockout for weakness is probably a lot better than, trying to dedicate a 4th energy, because the Charmeleon you can power up in one turn with the Charizard anyways if you have, no other energy in hand. So, let's see, Charmander, Charmeleon. I mean, those are gonna get sleeved up. We're probably just gonna focus on, the ultra rares of the set. If there's any like cool, new factors of like pre evolutions that might be beneficial, like the Charmander and Charmeleon, I feel like it's worth it. Otherwise we're gonna be here for a multitude of hours. But what do you think of Charizard? I think that hitting 160 for 1 is super solid, but at the same time, Charizard EX with the Terra, it hits for a lot more if your opponent has prizes. So like I can see it as like, I mean, it is fire type, so it does hit weakness on grass or, metal types, but I'm not too sure how playable this will be, especially with having to, do your splits. Now, the Explosive Vortex is really good, but you are going to have to play more energy recovery in the sense that because you have to discard 3, I feel like you need to play more Super Rod, and you kind of need to build your board in a sense to where you can evolve into a Charizard again if you're wanting to hit the 330.
Yeah, so I think this Charizard will probably just end up being a one of, because it can solve the issue that current Terra Charizard has an issue with, and that it can't take one shots early. So like the Dark Charizard becomes a menace in the mid to late game, whereas in the early game you're kind of two-shotting everything. So if you can get this 151 Charizard out and just blow up literally anything in the format, basic. I mean, with Vitality Band, you actually do hit everything for a knockout.
Rip Skeleturge.
Yeah.
Your matchup just got a lot worse.
A little bit. But yeah, so I could see it being put in, especially if like the build of Charizard that plays like the fire type basic attackers becomes more relevant, because that list sometimes runs Basin, so that way you can like power up the Delphox and the Entei. So that means you could put the damage on this Charizard proactively and hit 160 for 1 rather than 180 for 2. So I could see it being used as an early attacker, but it's mostly just going to serve the purpose as being like a big bomb.
Yeah. You know what does sound kind of nice though is running this in expanded. It's awkward because it's a stage 2, but I feel like can you power this up in 1 turn? How many energy does Welder attach?
2.
How much does Blacksmith attach?
2.
I feel like there's a way to power this up in 1 turn. I mean, actually, you can Basin, attach, and then use Welder or I just said it, Blacksmith. So, I don't know. I mean, I agree with the aspect of it being a one of. I just think that it is going to be more of like, you can take knockouts early on, yeah, but I feel like you're just going to use it to pull yourself ahead, and then in the mid to late game rely on the other Charizards. I don't think you're going to set up, 2 of these, and especially in the factor of like, if you think about it, with having to discard 3 energy, if you evolve into a Terra Charizard to power this up, swing, that means that next turn you need to find a way to have another Terra Charizard out just to power this up. And when you're attaching those 3 energies, like, yeah, you can attach from hand, but I feel like your setup is behind at that point. So I feel like a lot of people are going to have to be really, like, risky, but also make sure that they're not going to be punished by swinging with this Zard. Especially, like I said, I mean, you get 3 energy off the Charizard that you evolve into that's Terra, but you're not, like, you're not in the best board state if this thing gets KO'd and you just had to discard the 3 energy you just attached. So
Yeah, I think this card is going to be used as either like a recovery card, like if you're just down bad, you need to take that tempo back, or if you use it like kind of on a more proactive scale to maintain tempo.
yeah.
So this card is just like 100% either it's a high tempo card and a finisher. You can't use this as your main attacker. You'll probably end up falling really far behind.
It reminds me of the Heatran GX when we had like Blacksmith and everything, just because you like when you put it to the active, if you wanted to use your GX attack and hit for a lot of damage, like it was worth it, but you'd have to be kind of, you'd have to choose when you wanted to do that, because if it gets KO'd, you don't have Blacksmith to accelerate from the discard. You have Welder from hand, but it's like you kind of have to choose. So, but at least it fits in a lot easier with the line. So, let's see next. The Squirtle's kind of cool with withdrawal. War Turtle, free diving. Oh, by the way, Charizard, we're gonna sleeve that up for right now. Put one in. Blastoise EX, I absolutely love this card, but at the same time, I hate this card. I love it because it can one-shot all of the V-Stars in format, but I hate it because it can't one-shot anything else.
Yeah, and it's really awkward because like if you want to use Wind Cannons for full power consecutively, you're probably gonna have to run this with Excalibur.
Yeah.
Which means that you're running yet another double stage 2 deck.
Yeah.
It just it's tough.
Now the question is, if you're playing backs with Blastoise, do you still run the Pidgeot line to where you have to have another rare candy target, or do you run the art?
In that instance, yeah, you'd probably run the art, but that's like you're only probably ever playing Blastoise for fun because if you're gonna dedicate the line to the Blastoise and then still play backs and Arc, why not just play Chien Pao anyways?
Yeah.
Because you can actually take knockouts and not have to dedicate so much room to a
Blastoise. Plus with the Blastoise, it's technically got 360, but Raikou's still in format and you just get 2 energy, and you're gonna have to have a full board trying to establish this thing anyways. So they put how much do they need? 360 divided by, what's 36 divided by 2?
180. So it's 18.
So they need to hit 180. So that means that if they have a full bench,
8 between the two.
Yeah. So I mean, that's if you have a full bench and they have 3. There you go. You're one-shotting Blastoise.
Hold on. That's actually really interesting. That they need 8 bench Pokemon to one-shot Blastoise, even though they hit it for weakness.
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of crazy.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's just that's because it's 20 plus 20. It's not like Palkia where it's 60 plus 20.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is through this ability and just the sheer HP that Blastoise has, it actually isn't super easy for Raikou to kill it. So because if you have Blastoise, Arc, and Baxcalibur in play, Raikou can't one-shot this.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 320. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's what they
one-shot him back.
That's what they have Miraidon for.
Well, yeah, Miraidon just completely destroys this card. But it's interesting that we have this very predominant basic lightning attacker that everyone is the answer to anything that's weak to lightning, and this actually can survive.
Yeah. See, but I feel while yes, don't get me wrong, it does take a lot. I feel like if you only have a back setup, an Arc setup and then Blastoise in the active and not another Squirtle on the bench, I feel like you're kind of losing anyways.
Yes and no, because like if you can set up that board knowing this Blastoise won't die, then they hit into you, they don't take the knockout, and then because this is already going to die, then you fill up the bench with more things.
Yeah, true. That's fair. Blastoise, we're gonna throw that in the binder right now. What do you think?
It's getting slid into the binder though.
Yeah. Hey, it's good trade bait though.
Oh yeah, the Gen 1 starters are fan favorites all the time. So
let's see. Caterpie and Metapod. I wish they had the first turn Evo. That would have been nice.
yeah,
Okay, Butterfree. Bye-bye Flight. Choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Shuffle all cards attached to them into the deck, and then shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached. Opponent has no bench Pokemon. This attack does nothing. This Butterfree is not going to be played, but it does sound fun to disrupt your opponent right after they waste their last rare candy to set up a Pidgeot, and you're just like, yeah, no. Bye-bye.
yeah, I agree that this probably won't see a lot of play, but I don't think it's immediately like rejected. Like, because it takes a double turbo, so like you can do this in one turn. Although that would make, if the Caterpie and Metapod had adaptive evolution that let them evolve turn one, then I actually think this probably had potential to be a decent maybe disruption deck, because like you could play this with something like Glamora EX, where your opponent can only have 3 bench Pokemon, and then you promote the Butterfree, shuffle something away, and then you can go back into the Glamora, so that way they can't fill up their bench more.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
That would have been great. I'll let you talk about the Beedrill, but what I do want to say is that the Kakuna is really nice because Sableye can't eat it for breakfast.
Facts, but unfortunately Greninja can.
Okay, if anyone ever plays this Kakuna, if they don't go zit for the attack, I'm gonna be very upset. Or if or if it's on stream and the podcasters, like not podcasters, if the announcers don't go, oh, he's gonna use zit for game, I'm gonna be sad. All right, Beedrill. Definitely an F tier card.
I don't know about definitely. I think this card would have a spot because it does something that we've seen be successful before. Shocklock was a thing. Excelgor was a thing. And so, for 2 colorless energy, you do 30 damage. And then if you have no cards in your hand, you do 120 more. And then the opponent's active is paralyzed and poisoned. Paralysis is such a powerful status condition in the TCG. It can get a little messy depending on how heavy people are going on switch cards, but if you can set this up to where like you can kind of infinitely lock, I mean, because like if you're attaching a double turbo, right, so you're hitting 150 minus 20, that's 130, poison 140, poison back 150, so that means 270, 280. So if you're hitting into a V-Star with 280, they die going into the opponent's turn. But then anything over 280, you actually get the initiative back. So this could be a really fun stall tactic. And, the having no cards in your hand is kind of problematic. But we do have things like Radiant Venusaur, which would let you fill your hand back up to 4 at the end of the turn. So that means, you would start your turn with 5 cards in hand. And then you basically are playing
Squelvet.
Well, yeah, you Squelvet too. That would be like an insanely good card. But you're basically playing Excelgor plus Granbull, both of which were actually successful single price decks.
Yeah. But this is
however, the
stage 2.
Beedrill being a stage 2, yeah, that can be the problem. But you actually can still run the single strike Beedrill too to kind of cover some certain matchups. So I genuinely don't think Beedrill should be overlooked. I think this card has potential. I just don't know if it's right now.
All right, we'll leave it in the deck box, but not sleeve it. But the question...
We'll pick it up, but it won't get sleeved.
I do have a counter argument, though.
Okay.
Why do you think this Beedrill is so good with the paralysis when we literally have a Dunsparce or the Dunsparce that can be played in Lugia that paralyzes and shuffles back into the deck that, like, sees no play?
because Lugia doesn't need to be a stall deck. It's usually all about power. And the Dunsparce takes 4 energy, whereas this takes 2. So, I mean, yeah, you have Archeops to accelerate it, but that means that that variant of Lugia is purely
Colorless.
disruptive.
Yeah.
So,
It,
I think the Beedrill doing, and like, it's even more funny because, like, if you have no cards in your hand, so 150, 130, um, you would hit a Charizard for 260, 270 with the poison. So, if you put in something like Vitality Band or like super effective glasses, you can just one shot Charizard.
true.
However, something like Chi and Pao would probably be an awkward matchup. I mean, maybe because you have 130, so Chi and Pao would have to
Discard 3.
discard 3. The only issue I say with Chi and Pao is that like Archetype tends to run a lot of switching cards.
Yeah.
But even then, you're still hitting for like a 2-shot.
Yeah. That's
So
fair.
you're still trading evenly.
I feel like Chin Pao needs to start running Vitality Band, but that's just me.
I like playing the Pogo Articuno personally.
I mean, you can do that too. Pidgey, we'll just cover it real quick. Pidgey, fantastic card with being able to, call for family. We've seen that type of attack in 1,000,001 different factors, so we know how solid it is. I mean, it reminds me of the Emolga from Dragons Exalted.
Yep.
So, I mean, this Pidgey is going to be super optimal.
For
And
sure.
and it gets you, it's if you're going second, your opponent has no way to attack for some unknown reason. It's probably going to die, but, you can search, and then the next turn, you have the chance to Rare Candy and Pidgeotto, and it has free retreat. Like, it's a perfect pivot option. Let's see. This Pidgeot with Fly, I mean, it's not good.
So actually, hold on real quick. I think one thing I want to highlight about this Pidgey is Pokemon, like the company, definitely knew what they were doing by giving this Pidgey a good attack, but 10 less HP. Because now, by playing this Pidgey, all of your 70 HP basic mons like Charmander and stuff can now get double KO'd with a Sableye Knight, which is really awkward. So
Yeah,
I don't think that's a coincidence by any means. I think that was intentionally done on purpose.
Real quick, the Pidgeotto that got released, does it have a retreat or no?
The current one, I'm not sure, but I
know
know this one has free retreat.
This new one has free retreat. So I mean, it could be worth it to run a Pidgeotto, but then again, you really want to get the Pidgeot out because its abilities, broken. So it might be worth it to maybe consider the Pidgeotto if you're okay with running, a later line compared to rare candying right into it. But okay, this Raticate seems like a lot of fun against Gardevoir. Simply put, because it does 30x.
So
or 30 plus.
really quick, the current Pidgeotto does have a retreat of 1, so this actually is an optimal Pidgeotto.
Yeah, and I mean it does 20 for 1, so that math could.
Yeah.
We've learned that certain math is important. I mean the Ralts that's optimal now when attacking with a Ralts is the 70 HP one that does what, 30?
Yeah.
So I feel like the Raticate and Rattata are fun. They're not good, but if you really want to piss off a Gardevoir player, there you go.
I could see it being played in certain decks that like are already going for 2 shots because the Raticate does have free retreat and it only takes a double. So like,
true.
Maybe if we had a good Rattata, like the old one from what was it, Evolutions, that you play it and discard a tool.
Yeah.
So like if we have a good Rattata that eventually becomes meta relevant, I could see the Raticate becoming something to mess with later on.
Next we got the Spearow and Fearow. I think that this evolution line is really fun, but I think it's only beneficial if you know you're gonna go second.
Yeah, it's not a card that you want to dedicate a lot of spots to. So, but like being able to go second, evolve this, attach 1, and then grab 3 cards is insane. But we are in a format where like 3 and 4 Iono is pretty common. So the odds that you get to keep that isn't really high to begin with. So
Yeah.
like I I don't know where this would have even potential to be slotted in.
I mean, the only thing that like the benefit from, the factor that Iono and stuff is like if you're playing against a certain deck where like they rely on their starting hand being awesome, when you're depending on their board state and stuff, it does kind of force you. I mean, you waste an attack, but it forces your opponent to Iono, a good hand away, depending on, what's in there. But um definitely it could be something fun, but I don't think it's gonna be meta shifting. It does have free retreat though, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um Next, the Arbok EX. Do you think this is the Lost Box killer, like everyone says it is?
I don't get why people say this is the lost box killer. Like, I get that you do, 70 for 2 and like you discard cards from their hand and do 150 and stuff. So like, yeah, it seems good, but it seems good in general, not good because of lost box.
Yeah.
Um, I think this card is going to be really good in like a disruption style deck because like if you can Ion or Roxanne your opponent and then just rip both of the cards out of their hand, that's just disgusting.
Yeah, that's the same factor of like Ace Trainer into Trevnor.
Yeah.
Like, you just set this up. I am sad that it's 3 dark, but we do
Yeah.
have dark patch and stuff. It would have been cool to see it as a dark and 2 colorless, but at the same time that would have been too much. I feel like the 2 dark and a colorless would have been nice, but to each their own. Let's see. What do you think of this Raichu?
Give me 1 second. Okay, that makes sense.
What?
So I know people were talking about playing Arbok with the new Absol that came out in Obsidian Flames.
Oh yeah, the one that.
Yeah, I looked it up and I can see why now.
Yeah.
Because for 1 dark, you look at the top 3 of your either player's deck and rearrange them, so you could stack the top deck.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also becomes a good attacker because if your opponent has less than 3 cards in their hand, you're doing 220.
Oh, that's fair.
So I can kind of see it, but I don't think it's super strong.
Yeah. I mean, with the Absol though, I mean, being able to rearrange the top 3, assuming that they have 1 good card and 2 bad cards, you at least buy yourself 2 turns before they see the the good card. So, I mean, putting yourself in a situation where you hit the 150 rip, and then the following turn you use Absol's first attack, then that gives you the chance to use the second attack. So it could be pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of this Raichu in something like I don't know. I feel like it could be fun in Miraidon, considering that you run the Raichu V, and it discards the energy, so that way you can guarantee an energy stays on board if something gets knocked out. But I don't think I think that's about it.
This Raichu has a similar, if not the same ability as an old Lantern from the old EX era from like 2006, I think. I think it had this exact same ability, and it actually saw a lot of play. I don't remember why, but I do remember it was a meta card. As far as current meta, it seems like it would only be good for something like the Raichu V.
Yeah.
I mean, you could play it with like Energy Switch or something, but like, I don't see this being too good personally.
No, that's fair. But what card is good is this Sandshrew. I love this card. I feel like you punish a lot of decks that run low supporter counts but rely on Palpad.
Yeah.
So like things like Guardian stuff, like that when they trade away their bosses and they kind of set up their board, but sacrifice some supporters and they shuffle them back in. Like I feel like you can really punish a Guardy player, and I feel like Guardy might have to respect Sandshrew. Some other decks, they run heavy supporters. Like some lists of Arc even run 4 boss, 4 Iono. Like so it's not going to be as disruptive as that, but I feel like this Sandshrew could be solid with things having to respect Palpad. Like, even this Sandshrew against birds, Like, if they Pokestop away their supporters, they're not getting them back. There's nothing you can do. So
Can you imagine if we had this Sandshrew format with Lysander's trump card?
that would be disgusting.
You play trump card, you get all of your items back, but your opponent doesn't get theirs.
Yep. And I mean, wait, trainer cards and your opponent's discard. I mean, this is also good in the fact that, like, if Lugia starts playing Burnett, not Burnett. What's the professor lady?
That does what?
Shuffles a special energy, a Pokemon.
Roseanne?
Yeah, I feel like this is good versus Roseanne because I mean they can still get the energy back, but you know they can't shuffle back in
The stadium or
stadium
the supporter.
or the supporter. So pretty solid.
Yeah, I think this Sandshrew could definitely see some play here and there.
I mean, hey, Sanders is probably gonna find a way to use it. So
Actually, funny enough, you were mentioning that this Sandshrew is pretty good against Guardy, and so is the Sand Slash.
oh yeah, it does.
You're-
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yep, it does 180 and locks. That's yeah.
That's really funny, actually.
Let's see, Sandshrew. We're gonna sleeve that for now. I feel like it does enough.
For sure.
The Nidoqueen line, kind of underwhelming. I mean, it has, you know, the Nidoqueen specifically has a block attack with, you know, basics not doing damage, but I don't think anything with this line is gonna be great. I mean, even fetch for family.
I was gonna say the Nidorina has a cool attack, but
I mean, just like the Fearow, you know, you have to deal with Iono. I mean, it
Yeah.
forces the Iono, but
yeah, and then like the whole point of running the Nidoqueen is basically to get the effect of the Nidoking,
yeah,
and it's not even that good.
yeah. I mean, you do 200 for nothing, but you know, you do have to dedicate a lot of slots to. I mean, if you're running a 2/2 of
guess-
each, like that's 2, 4, 6. You're running 12 Pokemon, but only 2 of them are actually attacking. Like,
And I would say that's the awkward part about, even though the Nidorans are technically the same name, the symbols that dictate their gender are actually like part of their name. Because like if the Nidorina and the Nidorino like evolved from the same Nidoran, then I could kind of see it.
yeah,
But and like it is important to kind of highlight the fact that you could run Nidoking with Hisuian Sneasler. So that way you could hit 220 off the poison, which is relevant because that one shots most basic Vs and like, you know, most basic EXs. So like it might, but just the fact that you have to set up Nidoqueen and Nidoking
yeah.
is,
It's a lot to
it-
ask for.
although I think actually something really important to mention is, you know, you were talking about space being an issue, which it absolutely is. But if you're just using Nidoqueen to benefit the Nidoking, you can actually not run energy.
Yeah,
So all of that space you would have dedicated to playing energy cards can now go towards the Nidoqueen. So now you can look at the Nidoqueen line as the spaces that would have been
Yeah.
dedicated to your energy.
except then you run into the issue of them lost citying both your Nidoqueens, and then you just cry because you can't play.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's still super awkward. Or you could just, you know, straight up play Nidoking with like dark patches and double turbo or something.
Yeah,
But it actually, what if you that sounds kind of interesting.
Dark Patch and
what if
Double
you-
Turbo.
No. What if you played Nidoking and Nidoqueen with like a 1/1 Darkrai V-Star, so that way you can Star Abyss for rare candies?
I mean, hey, whatever you got to do to set up, right?
I've actually not even considered running Darkrai in like stage 2 decks to get back rare
Oh,
candies.
man.
That's kind of funny.
Yo, it's official. We're building a box deck. Who needs Arceus
That-
when we have Darkrai?
I know. Would you rather search out the 2 rare candies or get 2 more rare candies?
I don't know.
That's
I feel like-
wild.
I
Actually, I actually want to experiment with that now. I've yet to consider Darkrai as being like a utility mon.
See, because it's like the arc, you can find the rare candies when you don't see them, but then again, like if you don't see the rare candies, Darkrai's useless. Darkrai's only good if you see the rare candies, but then again, you know, it's like, I don't know.
But it could also help you if you see the rare candies too soon.
Yeah.
So like if you have to discard like one or two rare candies, then you're really screwed. But then if you have that recovery with the Darkrai,
Yeah.
it could help you in the late game.
That's fair.
So that's interesting. I actually am genuinely curious to experiment with Darkrai as a utility card now.
We'll have to try that. Because, I mean, hey, Arc did it. Now Arc's a lot better because it's colorless, so you can attack with it. But,
Yeah.
recovering, basically, I mean, providing, Super Rod does it and everything. But providing you don't play any, like, actual recovery cards and you just have Darkrai, if you think about it, like, Darkrai gives you 62 cards in your deck versus 60.
I mean, it could give you even more. Like, because say you set up perfectly right, you could get Super Rod and Palpad.
Yeah.
Like, that's why, like, I completely off topic. Like, most of the viewers won't know this, but you will know this. I had a very experimental Darkrai V-Star list that played, like, Colress and stuff. And it was because I wanted to play Darkrai in a way that highlighted the Star Abyss, because getting back 2 items is really, really good. So it's kind of crazy to me that I never even thought about trying it out in like evolution decks or just in anything else. That's like really interesting.
Well, here we are. We can try it. Back on the topic of things. What do you think about Clefable?
I
feel like
so
it could be a cute 1/1 in Guardy. Like if you don't get the full knockout and then you take, a knockout with the Clefable. But that's just experimental. Does this work? Could help your Lost Box matchup.
My initial thought is playing the Clefairy actually, because if I remember correctly, I'm checking right now to see if it's still in format, but we have the Clefairy that does it's from Lost Origins. So its ability is, says if it's in the active, for each of your bench Clefairy, you search your deck for a psychic energy and attach it to each one of the Clefairies. And then the attack for 3 colorless does 20 times the amount of psychic energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So if you run 3 of the ability Clefairy and then like 1 of this Clefairy, turn 1 you just get them all out, and then you can just start shifting between it, because that gives you an immediate pivot into one of the ones that has an ability.
Yeah.
So it could be funny, and then like you can run the Clefable in there. So I don't think it's good.
It'll be Mimi.
I think it's interesting.
It's gonna it'll be Lunatone Soul Rock all over again.
I would say, yeah, this might not even be optimal over the 4th ability one, but that was just my initial thought, was playing it with that.
I think it'll be fun. And I also think that we're only on the 36th card of 151 and we've been here for 40 minutes, so we should probably go a little faster.
Yeah, probably.
Ninetales, I mean, if we still had
interesting but not good.
Yeah, I feel like it would only be interesting if we had Copycat in format still. Do we?
No, we have Judge. Actually, we do have Copycat. I'm pretty sure it's in like Brilliant Stars.
Bro, oh my god.
I think we actually do have both Copycat and Judge in format.
Copycat against Guardy? Why has no one thought of it?
Okay, actually, I might have been too quick to write this Ninetales off. 220 for 2?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I don't know. I don't think it's that good. 220 for 2 is asking a lot.
Do we have any other like good Ninetales in the format right now?
And sadly, no. I feel like the last good Ninetales we got was the discard 2 boss up something. I think what we'll do is we'll go through all the cards and then we'll re-go through them real fast and talk about if we're gonna slide them or sleeve them.
Yeah,
I
sure.
feel like that's a lot easier.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might see play, but we'll see.
I feel like what's definitely gonna get play is this Wigglytuff.
Yeah, this Wigglytuff is really good.
150 or 350 HP. You do 180 for 3. You can search the therapeutic energies with the other Wigglytuff, or you can, put it inside of an Arc engine. Not Arc as in V-Star, but
Lugia.
Arc Yaps. Definitely solid. That, I'm going to say right now, is going to get sleeved.
Yeah.
I feel like, even if you think about it, Urshi Intel has a really hard time against this.
Yeah, it's got a lot of HP.
I mean, because you only hit 300 with the first attack, and you hit 240 with the second one. Let's see.
I think the next cards to highlight would be the Gloom and the Vileplume.
Yeah, Zubat, I mean, being able to reveal, fine, but it doesn't have free retreat, so I don't think it's going to be fine.
Yeah,
Plus,
and there's not really a relevant Golbat or Crobat line.
Yeah, I mean, plus, like, the ability is nice, but we have items that do that we'll talk about later. Alright, let's get into the Gloom and Vileplume. I want to play this in Darkrai.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. Like, oh, this thing looks really good in Darkrai. I'm like, maybe, but it might be too slow.
You know what? No, I'm playing it in Chimpao. Who needs Bax? Who needs Bax Caliber, bro?
Yeah, who needs the card that there's like who needs access to the one card Bax and Irida? You know, screw that. We're just gonna play grass for no reason.
All right, you know what? I'm playing a 2/2/2 line of this inside of Miraidon.
Play electric generator.
Nah, we live on the no consistency side of life.
I'm sure I'll try this in Darkrai, but right now it seems a little overhyped. But yeah. I could see it.
It's nice, but then when you evolve into it, if you hit no energy, you just cry. At least Pokegear, like, it's not sitting on your bench just being useless to get bossed.
Yeah, and that's like another thing is like as soon as you evolve these, they're useless. Like we don't have Scoop of Net in the format anymore.
What do you think of this Parasect being able to grab any grass Pokemon? Doesn't have to be basic.
I think if it wasn't for a coin flip, this card would be really good because like we have the Orbeetle that does something similar, but it's a stage 2 and it does it for each energy, and it's any stage 2. But that like I don't understand why this couldn't have just been without the coin flips. Like just grabbing like make it 2 energy. You know, 2 energy, search your deck for 2 grass Pokemon, put them on the bench. I think that would have made this card playable.
Yeah.
But either way, it's probably not good.
Let's see.
Oh shoot, this Venomoth item locks?
Yeah, I was about to talk about that. I think it's gonna be really bad because it's only 30 damage. But
it confuses them.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, it confuses, yes. If it was paralyzed, it'd be busted.
Oh, if it was paralyzed, it's busted. But this is a 50-50 that they don't attack you and they can't play Switch.
Yeah, true. And we don't have
That's kind of insane.
Format. We don't have
like put into perspective the fact that Tord, the greatest Pokemon player by far now, lost his top 4 at 2019 Worlds to a confusion flip on his Reshizard.
Oh yeah, he did, huh?
So don't underestimate the power of confusion.
That's fair. Diglett, Dugtrio, they're not good, underwhelming. Let's see. This Meowth and Persian, I don't think it's gonna be good. I know that there's some interaction.
I'm scrolling to the bottom real quick to check what the Giovanni does, because I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think it does like 30 more damage.
Giovanni. Put an energy from your opponent's active into their hand. If you do, attach an energy from your active.
Any energy or basic?
Any energy.
Okay. I mean, it could
the worst.
It could be nice disruption. I mean, I don't.
If it had free retreat, that would be good, because then like you could, promote this retreat, discard the energy, and then attach to the active.
Yeah.
So it's almost playable.
Psyduck with Overthink. There's coin flips in the game, but I feel like it's only with
this is the reason we got the new Worlds promo. It's for this Psyduck specifically.
What am I thinking of? Flip a coin if heads, search your deck for an Evo. If tails, search for a basic. What is that?
Capturing Aroma.
That's what it is. I mean, you can force your opponent to search constantly for
Basics.
basics, but that's about it. Golduck, put up to 4 Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. I mean, could be kind of cool, but I don't think it's necessary.
This was almost really interesting.
Yeah, it was almost good. The Mankey Primate, no, not good.
Those are like really bad.
Yeah, really underwhelming. The Growlithe line, I don't think is good.
Discard to this Pokemon. Discard. I mean, as one prizers, the Arcanine having built-in energy acceleration is interesting, but it doesn't have enough HP to like do anything relevant. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
I mean, if you're using double turbo, you're only doing 250 combined, so it's not even enough to one-shot of B. I mean, if you ran Vitality Band, sure, you're hitting 40, and then you're hitting 230, which is 270, but that doesn't even one-shot anything.
Yeah, the Poliwrath line is nothing really to write home about.
Yeah.
They're all coin flips.
Let's see.
Alakazam.
This card's gonna be fun.
The rule breaker himself.
Like,
oh my god, being able to attack from the bench is so cool.
And we're getting it as a promo too.
Yeah, and then like the first attack is also not like super irrelevant, you know, because if your opponent has full bench, that thing's hitting for 240.
Yeah.
So like I think Alakazam is 100% going to see some play. It's just a matter of if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah. I feel like someone has to break it.
I mean, yeah, you can sit behind, you know, like Klefkis and Mimikyus and stuff like that. So the synergy is there for the dimensional hand. It's just a matter of if doing 120 is good enough.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, you could play it with like block Snorlax and then just leave your opponents active. Like if it's something that, you know, is worth like 2 like a Luminion, for instance, you know, you chop that in the active, keep hitting it for 120. Like, yeah, they can build their board on the bench, but all it takes is a boss to kind of disrupt them more, and then you go from there. So
that is true.
Definitely good. This Machamp's nothing really to write home about. I mean, it has a built-in focus sash on a coin flip, but that's about it. Victory Bell.
It's interesting, but
I mean, you do, you know,
potentially 240, but if they switch out, then you're only doing 120.
Let's see. The Tentacruel, I don't think it's anything.
No.
The Geodude and Graveler, not super relevant. The Golem seems kind of cool. But
I feel like the Golem could be interesting if we have something that like copies attacks from like the discard or something.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see this being like super relevant.
Ponyta and Rapidash, nothing too great there. Same with the Slowbro.
Yeah.
I mean, the Magneton could be kind of cool inside of.
Got Junk Hunt on stage 1.
I mean, it could be kind of cool inside of like Miraidon.
I don't hate this.
To get generators
like,
back.
I genuinely don't hate this as a card, because like if you play like, just imagine a world where you play like Magneton Control, right? Like old Sable Garb.
Yeah.
You have Miraidon to search out the Magnemites and stuff.
I mean, and so like even if you're playing like what's the energy we have right now? If it provides Rainbow, but if you have another special energy attached,
Luminous.
I mean, if you played like a Luminous box deck, you could, you know, run this just so you could secure some things.
Yeah, I don't hate this card. I definitely think this needs to sit in the back of people's minds.
Yeah. Farfetch'd, nothing really to write home about. This Dodrio though, looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really want to play this in Zoroark V-Star. Because not only does it have built-in damage, so it powers up the Zoroark, but you also get draw power, and you now have something to put your damage onto, like if you have excess damage pumps. So like, I think Dodrio in Zoroark is really fun. It means you don't have to play the Gengar anymore. Yeah. So I think this is going to be really fun with Zoroark.
Yeah, the draw factor is nice. And I mean, if you have multiple setup, you get to draw so many cards. So Let's see. The Seal and Dugong. I mean, the Dugong is interesting in the factor that like you have dual splash, but it's not as good as the old Dugong during team up when, you know, for 3 energy it would do
Yeah.
70-70.
It was 60-60, wasn't it?
I thought it was 70-70. Let's find this out.
So while you look that up real quick, I just want to highlight this Grimer artwork. This Grimer artwork is adorable.
It really is.
Your opponent's next turn Costco's more. Okay, the Muck isn't that bad.
Oh yeah,
actually.
60. You're right. 60-60.
Okay.
Yeah, the Muck's not that bad. I feel like,
For 1 dart, you make their attacks cost 1 more and their retreat cost 1 more.
and you could play it with the stadium that makes their attacks cost more, and you could play it with Spide Ops.
Yeah, there's something there. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's good, but there's
The s-
something there.
The second attack's too much to power up, but the first attack definitely is fun.
Yeah.
The Cloister, kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. What if I'm going to put a support?
Um,
I mean, the Haunter is cool,
Yeah.
but it's basically just the worst Pelipper.
Yeah. No, it's you
So-
put a supporter card from your opponent's discard pile into their hand.
Oh,
So it's to
this
set
card's
it's to set up for
it's
Poltergeist.
for Poltergeist, yeah. But like, that doesn't even seem good because you have to wait another turn to evolve into Gengar. So like, you would have to have a Gengar that you're attacking with, and then like evolve like 2 or 3 Haunters.
I mean, unless you're playing the Net EX with Poltergeist. So you item lock and then Poltergeist. Like that's about it
Okay,
though. But I feel like giving your
maybe I can see that.
like, I don't know. The only time I feel like Spirit Return would be beneficial would be like if your opponent plays Grant for whatever reason, and like they're benefiting off of discarding their cards in their hand to bring it back, like, and then they have ways to discard it again. I feel like, you know, if you find a way to look at their hand, realize they don't have supporter, put Grant back in, so that way they have to play Grant but can't, like, I don't know. The Hunter's not good.
Can you imagine this Haunter with like a portrait Smeargle?
That'd be great.
You just handpick the supporter you want to use, but you also have to give it back to your opponent too.
I know what we're doing in Unlimited.
Oh my god.
Let's see. The Onyx,
It is
underwhelming.
Terrible.
Terrible.
It's so bad. This Hypno is actually not like the worst. The auto sleep is cool.
I love
But-
how on the Onyx real quick, it's literally 80x the amount of Pokemon that have an exact retreat cost of 4.
Yeah, that's something they've done before with like the Sun and Moon era Onyxes and stuff. Like we had what was it, Pokemaniac, that searched out exactly Pokemon that had like 3 or 4 retreat or something.
Yeah.
So like this is a recycled mechanic. I don't know why they keep doing it. It's not that cool,
Yeah.
but sure.
This Hypno is really good with Jinx.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the like obvious
You're,
standard combo.
you're really just using it for the evolution. The attack isn't really anything.
Yeah, you're never gonna attack with this thing.
The Kingler, underwhelming. It's not gonna see play. It's just bulk.
Yeah.
The Electrode. I mean, the Electrode could be kind of cool with Reverum.
Yeah, it does 40 more. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, so if you have 2 Reverums that have 4 tools each, you're hitting for 340
Right.
for 1 energy.
Yeah, 340 for 1. Like that's not bad.
And
but
then you can play what is it, Rotom V-Star with this too.
yeah.
So for 2 energy, you can, so like the Electrode will discard the tools, and then the Rotom will send them to the Lost Zone. So you essentially get double value out of the tools.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it seems fun, but I feel like you have to play a lot of Arven and a lot of tools.
I mean, the Rotom V-Star does have the built-in draw with its V-Star power.
Yeah.
And the basic Rotom V has the draw too, so maybe. I think that's a really cool fun deck nonetheless.
The Executor, I mean, it's cool, but it's underwhelming.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Marowak line, pretty underwhelming. I mean, Tornado Kick on Hitmonlee could be pretty cool. because you do 10 to each, but it's not one damage counter, which sucks. So Mana V prevents it, but you could use it and, you know, like bring up a Clef Key or something.
No, you know what this card is really good in?
Huh.
Ting Lu.
Oh, yeah.
For 1 energy, you do 10 to everything, and then you get to pivot into the Ting Lu.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's really good.
That's disgusting.
Okay, fair point. The Hitmonchan, there's Pokemon's in your active spot. I mean, you put 3 damage counters, but that's about it. I mean, they're going for the combo of Hitmonlee into Hitmonchan, but
Yeah.
I think it's underwhelming.
Oh, this wheezing makes me excited.
Lickitung is trash.
Yeah.
The wheezing though, if it's knocked out, you flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active is knocked out, and then it does.
It's got feigning spell.
Yeah, and then it does 50 and then 10 to each of your opponent's bench. So that's pretty good. Feigning spell would be great. If we had like more 3-prizers in format, I feel like this would be good. I mean, we have VMAXs, but we're playing mostly 2-prizers, so it's still good. I mean, you get a free 2 prizes if you flip heads, but
Yeah, I feel like this is the start of what could become like a spread archetype.
yeah.
Because like having this as your main attacker is really good because you just have a 50-50 of your opponent also going down with you. And that's kind of something that spread needs, is like that fear factor.
Yeah.
So like I could see this actually becoming an archetype at some time in the future.
An archetype? You mean an archetype?
Archetype.
The Rhyhorn and Rhydon, not really good.
Not good.
If you had access to like Rhydon being fighting 2 colorless, I could see it, because then you could attach a DTE and then
Yeah.
attach a fighting for turn, but that's about it. This Chansey is cute. I don't know how much it's gonna be played.
I don't know
You have to
why
you have to flip a
you
coin.
had to. Yeah, I don't know why they made this a coin flip.
It's probably because if you think about it,
I guess you could play multiple.
you could play 4. Use Peonia, is that her name?
Yeah,
put
and
'em-
them all in your prizes,
Yeah.
and you would know where they are.
Yeah, and then you just, you know, you take 1 knockout, have 3 empty bench spots, put these down, and take your last 3 prizes.
I mean, you could have 4 empty spots and take 5 prizes.
No, I'm saying if you have 3 Chansey in your prizes, you just win the game off of 1 attack.
Well, yeah, but like, say you use Peonia twice and you put all 4 Chanseys,
Oh yeah, then you technically
then
would take.
you could take 5 prizes.
No, you take 8.
Well, no, because you put 1 Chansey down, and then that Chansey grabs the second one, and then the second one grabs the third one grabs the fourth one grabs the 5th card.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, sorry. I was thinking in the fact that like if you KO'd VMAX and just grabbed all 3, put them down, you take 3 more.
Yeah, I mean, you could kill a 2-prizer and take all 6 prizes
Could you? Oh yeah, you
if
could.
all 4 are in there.
So you go Chansey into Chansey, into Chansey into Chansey.
Well, no, you would go Chansey into one of the other non-Chansey, so those would be the 2 prizes you take off of the multi-prize knockout, and then that Chansey starts the Chansey train.
Oh, okay. Yep. Wow. That. Don't ever say that again. Don't ever say Chansey train again, bro.
Hey.
You're making Nurse Joy jealous.
Anyways, Kangaskhan is bad.
Kangaskhan is bad.
It's very bad. If we had something like the reflip Victini or something, then maybe, but it's bad.
This reminds me of Wham Bam Punch.
Exactly.
But I mean, hey, Wham Bam Punch was played, so it's give and take. Thedra, it's bad. Goldeen and Seeking is bad.
So the only thing of note to highlight with the Seeking is there is the Swim Freely archetype. I forget how they synergize together, but I know that there is something in the Swim Freely archetype that accelerates water energies to other Pokemon that have Swim Freely.
Yeah.
So you essentially have a 1-prizer deck that has an unlimited damage output, because like 60 plus 30 is nothing to scoff at. You know, if you just have 3 energies on there, you're hitting 150.
Yeah.
So like, I guess, but I don't know how relevant it'll be.
I mean, you could play it with Baxcalibur. Have a one. Have a one.
Just play it with the Swim Freely accelerator. It's basically Baxcalibur for the Archetype.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And I think it's on a basic.
Let's see. The Starmie is kind of cool.
It's interesting. It's
My
the fact that it doesn't give up a prize, but it lets you put 2 damage on something could be extremely relevant.
I feel like it could be kind of good in like Urshi Intel if you don't have the extra water energies to discard and you just need to.
Or I mean, even if you just need more damage.
Yeah. Let's see. Mr. Mime. It's decent, but
yeah, it could be kind of niche, but probably not.
I mean, you know, if you start with this in the active against Lost Box and like turn 1, they try to go cram. I mean, it's nice because they don't do damage to you, but it's
I
not,
guess, yeah.
It's nothing
But
insane.
they could just attach like a jet energy to it and get past it.
Yeah. This Scyther.
It's nothing to write home about.
It's nothing to write home about, but I mean, you can at least accelerate grass.
Yeah, I guess.
The Jinx EX, though, this card's fantastic.
It's definitely nice to have something that just insta KOs.
Yeah.
But that's basically all the deck does.
Yeah. But, I mean,
So,
hey,
like,
insta KOs are pretty good. But you have to hope that you can keep them asleep. If we had laser in format, that'd be great.
Not even that, because all you have to do is evolve into Hypno and take the knockout.
Yeah, but I'm saying if all your Hypnos are on board already, and then you're playing against a one-prizer deck.
If you're playing against the one prizer deck, you probably just use the second attack.
Yeah, true. But what was I gonna say? Does Enamorous V get through? Is it if they have psychic energy, or is it any energy? Oh, okay.
No, it's specifically psychic.
Dang, that blows. So the Jinx EX, that's good. Electabuzz and Magmar, I mean, they work hand in hand, but they're not good.
No.
Pinsir, not good.
Does 90 more. Yeah, that's. I mean, it can one-shot a Charizard, but it takes 3 energies.
Yeah. Tauros, I mean, it's cool, but it's not good.
If its first attack grabbed like 2 or something, then it might be interesting, because 120 with a rage attack could be like, it's like a combo, right? You're like, I'm using this to set up, and then it can also do something else for me.
Yeah.
But it just,
I mean, your max
not
damage
quite
output
there.
though is 140.
Well, yeah, but like, even if like, say you're against something like Lost Box, and then this gets hit by a cram, then I mean, you're hitting 140. You take the one shot right back. It's again not relevant, but it's just like, it's making the card better.
Yeah.
But not great.
I can see Splash Around being fun, just to see how many coin flips you can hit, how many cards you can draw. Could you imagine you deck yourself out?
Yeah. I think this Gyarados is really interesting if we ever get Devo Spray back.
You discard the top 5 of your deck, not your opponent's.
Hold. When you play this card from your new you must discard the top 5 from your deck. That card's terrible. This card's actually bad.
Unless it's mistranslated.
Yeah, I mean, why is that? I mean, that would make sense with like the ability name and stuff, but like, why did they think that this card was good enough doing 200 damage that you have to mill 5 when you evolve?
Let's see.
That just doesn't make sense.
Lapras, that's probably not going to be good. I mean,
No.
you put them into your hand, not on the bench. This Ditto, though, is really fun.
Yeah, this Ditto is very interesting. I don't know how like applicable it can be, but it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, because it's like you can run 4 to max the chances of starting with it, but then after the fact, like, once you get 1 out, the rest aren't doing anything because you can only use it on your first turn.
Oh, it does say on your first turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Mm.
I mean, it could be good to pivot into it if, like, you know, you can't... You know, like, if you start with it and, like, play Clef Key or something, like, you can change into the Clef Key, yeah, but if you have a way to search out the Ditto, you might as well just search out the Clef Key. So...
Yeah, I almost wish that this just let you do it from the bench, but then I think it might have been too good. I think what this should have been is you can use it from the bench, but you can't grab a rule box Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think that would have made this like really good.
The art's cute though.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Eevee, I mean, it searches for the evolutions, but I don't think the evolutions are any good.
I mean, you can technically search anything.
I mean,
as
yeah.
long as they're different types.
Let's see. Vaporeon, it does 180,
180.
basically.
They all do one. It's the same thing. They all have the same
So,
thing.
I mean, they hit weakness factors, but...
So, hold on. So, the Vaporeon heals 30 for 1. The Jolteon snipes for 30 for 1. And then the Flareon does 30 and potentially discards an energy. So, that's where they differ.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you can hit weakness factors, but I don't think it's going to be, like, super solid. If this Eevee was the evolution one, where... What was it?
You can attach the energy.
Yeah. Like, that would be solid. Because you attach, evolve.
That would be really cool.
And then the next turn, attach a DTE. But
I would say that would actually combo really well with like Giovanni's Charisma. Because like you could bounce one of your opponent's energies if you're going second, attach one from hand, evolve into the evolution, and then attach the double and get a turn 2 attack off while disrupting your opponent's energy.
Yeah, it would be.
That would have been super cool.
It would have been solid. Then we have Porygon. Switch is a card.
Until it leaves.
I mean, Switch is a card. I don't think it's gonna be super good.
I doubt it, but it's interesting nonetheless.
I mean, because you can, like, if your opponent doesn't have any ways to switch, like, yeah, it's pretty cool because you can make your opponent's active, the type that you hit for weakness, but...
This is the first time I think we can have Dragon Pokemon hit something for weakness.
How? Oh, yeah.
Because Dragon is a type you can select, and
Yeah.
previously Dragon Pokemon didn't hit other Dragon Pokemon for weakness, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, it could be kind of cool to force your opponent to have to find a way to retreat. Let's see. The Omastar.
I think all of the fossils were really interesting.
The Omastar's nice, but you might as well just play the block Snorlax.
Yeah. Because like the attack is nothing to write home about.
The Kabutops is a stage 2, but the times 4 weakness is really valid. But at the same time, how much play did Vileplume get? It didn't.
But you also have to remember the format Vileplume was in.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot less HP in that format, and we were hitting for like consistent 2 shots.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like with things like Charizard that have 330, that means if you're doing 90 damage, you're one-shotting a Charizard.
That's fair.
So I could see the Kabutops being kind of relevant. I wish the Kabutops was water.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
You could Irida for this.
Yeah. It's probably why it's not.
Yeah.
Then we have the Aerodactyl, 100, and then you devolve. I mean, it could be good against something like Guardy or really any stage 2 deck.
Yeah, it loses value against like V Pokemon, but it's really good against EXs.
Yeah, well, okay, yes and no, because if you think about it, if they have an EX on board and you have the chance to one-shot that EX, you get 2 prizes. But if you devolve, you put the evolution back into their hand, so they can rare candy again. But you only get 1 prize off the pre-evo, unless it's like a V or a V star.
Well, yeah, but you also have to look at it in like a tempo instance. So like you're losing a prize, but you're gaining board advantage. That's why, like, remember the Sun and Moon era where like we had Decidueye and then the Espeon that de-evolved? It's like, yeah, you're losing the 2 prizes per Decidueye, but if you de-evolve 3 Decidueyes and your opponent has no more Rowlets to evolve,
yeah,
then you basically still won the game anyways.
Yeah, but at the same time, you gotta remember that Espeon devolved everything, and most of the time, like when you would use Ninetales GX or Decidueye, you would usually snipe the bench. It didn't, and so like you could devolve what they had on the bench. You didn't have to specifically hope it was in the active. I mean, boss is the thing, so this Aerodactyl could be good. I just wish it was devolve everything, but that's too much to ask for. Then we have Snorlax. I mean, getting 2 leftovers is cool because you can use it with the Reverum and the Electrode.
So I actually want to play this and 2 leftovers in my Tinkaton EX deck, because this card is really good. if you have this on the bench and you get 2 leftovers, that's already a +2 to your hand. But then if you have Curly on play, you get to discard both of the leftovers and go +4, and then you just get the leftovers back next turn.
That's fair.
So I think that's really cool.
Then we have the birds. So we have Articuno. It's not really beneficial.
So they all get free retreat if they have their corresponding energy attached.
Yeah.
And then Articuno does 110 and snipes 10 to everything. Zapdos does 120 and 90 snipe that has damage on it.
And then the Moltres
discards 2, does 120. So they're pretty bad.
I mean, the Zapdos could be played with like Electric Generator, and you could play like Halucha, but I don't think it's that good.
I'm not a.
The Dragonite.
You can play it with like Gapejaw Bog, I guess.
Yeah, the Dragonite line is kind of underwhelming.
I mean, it's nice that we have something that gives us free retreat, but I wish it wasn't on a stage 2.
Yeah.
Because like that's something we're desperately missing in this format is like pivots.
So the Mewtwo's kind of cool. You force your opponent to not overextend. Like if they have to use a Giratina V-Star to kill this, and they've already used their V-Star, you just take 2 prizes, and you're like, thanks.
I mean, even using this and expecting a cram, like you just KO the cram.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty solid. The card I'm most excited for, Mew EX, you know, drawing 2, you have 3, but also genome hacking. It gives off the Zoroark break vibes.
Yeah, I think this card is good, but I think it is grossly overhyped.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to think about it, like, a lot of the attacks we have right now are factored based, like Charizard. You have to be at a certain prize card mapping, or not prize card mapping, you have to be at a certain prize card count for it to be good. Shinpao, you have to discard energy. Raikou, I mean, you can copy Raikou, that'd be kind of cool. Mew, I mean, if you don't have any fusion type in play, there's nothing
I mean, you could copy Miraidon too.
Yeah, that's fair. But having a 3 colorless attack, I feel like
that's really the awkward part.
If it was a DTE, that'd be different.
Yeah, and then like I don't even think its ability's that good. Like drawing until you have 3 is cool, but I wish it just like drew like a card or like drew you 2 or something. Like the amount of times that you're gonna have less than 3 cards in your hand is pretty like uncommon. And then usually if you have something less than 3, it's probably because your opponent Iono'd you, and they probably put a path in play, which means you still can't use this anyways.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's cute, but it's not tier 1. Unless there's something missing that we can copy.
I think it's interesting, but I don't think it's good.
Now getting into the trainers. Big Balloon, stage 2, no retreat. I mean, it's cool, but it's not. I mean, it's only stage 2, so. I mean, you give your Baxcalibur free retreat, you give your Charizard free retreat, you give
you get Venusaur free retreat, which could help that card out a lot.
I mean, it's a tool.
That's interesting.
Well, you look like you were gonna say something about it.
I was saying that it makes because that was my big complaint with Venusaur, is that like if you're playing a dedicated Venusaur deck, you need to switch out the Venusaurs, but it had 4 retreat.
Yeah.
So being able to play this and then play Radiant Serena, now I can kind of see Venusaur maybe being a fun deck at minimum.
Bill's transfer. I mean, it could be depending on what you're looking for.
I think this card's kind of solid.
But I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, I mean, you don't have to. That's okay. That's fair. I thought it was you have to grab everything. So the fact that you don't have to means that, like in Guardy, if you're looking for your Curlias and stuff, like you just Bill's transfer, grab all your Curlias, go from there.
So what I really like about this card is it kind of solves my gripe with the format, in the sense that we have really good setup supporters like Gloria and stuff like that can help these stage 2 decks, but because we can't play a supporter going first, it makes you not want to play the Gloria and stuff, because if you're going second, you need to run a high count of it but it only works on like your second turn. Whereas if you play a high count of Bill, you can still use this in the mid to late game and find your evolutions. So like I think Bill is a really good setup supporter that I personally am gonna experiment with because I actually really like the flavor of this card. I think it's pretty well positioned in the current meta game.
I agree with that. That is a good factor. Then we have Cycling Road. It's literally just Greninja, but on a stadium, and you draw one less. So I mean, it's good. It's good, you know, acceleration. This in Gardevoir would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then again, it comes down to, do you play Cycling Road or do you play the other stadium that heals you? So I feel like you could play Split, but then again, Artisans, I don't know. Guardy plays
I
every
would say
stadium.
Guardy's already playing so many different stadiums.
Then we have Daisy's Help. Draw 2 cards, like your face down prize cards. I feel like that's just a solid card. I mean, it's not the greatest, not the worst, but do keep in mind, if you've made it this far into the video, when you play Daisy's Help, look at them one at a time, because the minute you shuffle those prizes, you get a game loss.
Exactly. That is very important to highlight, that it doesn't say like pick up your prizes and look at them and stuff. Like you have to put them back in the same order. So like from a competitive standpoint, that's very important to remember. But the thing I want to complain about with this card is I don't know why it's draw 2, because we have all of these draw 3 do something cards, and for whatever reason this is just a draw 2, which makes it inherently worse because it's only a +1 where you get to see your prizes, which is cool.
Could be kind of cool in Tinkaton. I mean, at least you're plussing 1 card and seeing your prizes. But at the same time,
like,
okay, it's the factor of this. In Tinkaton, you can either play Sui Heavy Ball, which minuses you a card, or Daisy's Help, which at least pluses you a card. But there's better supporters you can play. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but Heavy Ball also can get you your basics.
That's fair. Let's see. Then we have Energy Seal. Flip a coin of heads, attach a basic energy.
It's literally just Turbo Patch.
Yeah, and Turbo Patch didn't get that much play.
It saw like no play.
Then we have Erica's Invitation. Your opponent reveals a hand, put a basic Pokemon you find there onto the bench, then switch it. It's a double-edged sword. It's good if you know that your opponent has like a Lumineon in hand. But if you don't know your opponent's hand and you do it and they have an open bench spot, they have something like a Klefki or a Snorlax or something in your hand, and you know, you're forced to bench it and bring it up, so you kind of put yourself in a weird situation. I feel like you have to play this when you know what's in their hand, which, I mean, comes over with the item we'll look at in a minute. We talked about Giovanni's Charisma. It's a good disruption card. Leftovers, you just heal 20 in between turns, or sorry, at the end of your turn. Then we have Old Amber. So you prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to the Pokemon, but it doesn't say that your opponent doesn't take a prize. So I think if they KO this, they do take a prize.
Yeah, that's what I would think as well.
So I think it's a liability. Old Dome Fossil, it's the same thing. Can't be affected by special conditions, and it takes 30 less. All of them can't be prevented by special conditions, so that's nice to know.
The Helix Fossil is kind of interesting.
Yeah, the Helix Fossil is nice. You know, if it's in the active, your opponent can't play stadiums, which means you don't have to worry about path if your deck struggles against path. It could be kind of nice to play maybe one of these in Arc. Like, if you think about it, like, path really hurts Arc if you can't use your V-Star, so, you know, having this in the active so your opponent can't play a path down, and then being able to use your V-Star, search for your paths and stuff, and being able to counter them, like, I feel like that's perfect.
That actually is kind of cool, because that means if you play out that scenario even more, if you have this in the active and you go Arc, attach, pass, your opponent can't path you, right? But then that means you can go V-Star, grab whatever you need, and then you can discard the fossil from play to put the Arc into the active.
Yeah, and then you can also put your own path down, which means you shut down their Arc.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Rigid Band, the stage one it's attached to, takes 30 less. I mean, it's cool, but
I think this is really good for like the the stage 1 EXs and stuff like this on like Bennett,
Yeah,
your item locking and reducing damage, or just stuff like that.
it could be kind of cool. It'd be a lot different if the VMAXs and V-Stars were counted as stage 1s.
Yeah.
Then we have safety goggles. Kind of cute. I mean, it depends on if you're really like, if your deck struggles against a certain deck just because of the weakness factor, like safety goggles could be good. And then finally we have Snatch Arm. Your opponent reveals their hand, you choose a Pokemon and put it to the bottom of their deck. I mean, you guarantee that they can't draw it, but Snatch Arm just being a free reveal your hand, like that's super solid. But then again, I see people kind of overhyping this card. Like, oh my god, it's going to be a 4 of in every deck. Like, it's good, but just because you gain the knowledge of having their hand, like, I don't know. Like, I could see it being good in the sense of, like, you look at your opponent's hand, you know that they play 3 boss, and, you know, there's 2 in the discard. You look at their hand, you see the last boss there, and then you choose to Iono, but I don't think it's going to be a 4 of.
No, not at all.
That's just wasting card space in your deck anyways. So
yeah, I don't even think like a control deck would play 4 of this.
Yeah. But that's the last card. So now let's run through really quick. We'll talk about what's going to be sleeved and what's going to be put in the binder. So what did I say? Slide or sleeve? Yeah, you slide it.
Sleeve, yeah.
Slide it in the binder or sleeve it. We'll just go through quick. Venusaur, sleeve in the binder. Or slide
in the binder.
Slide in the binder. Charmander and Charmeleon, sleeve these up. They'll be good.
The whole line is getting
the whole
sleeved.
line getting sleeved.
Blastoise is getting slid.
Yeah, Blastoise getting slid in the binder.
Butterfree's in like that weird middle ground.
Yeah, it's in the deck box, but it's
in the deck box, but it's not sleeved.
Yeah, you have the core in the deck box because you might use it, but it sits there for a while. The Beedrill line.
Same thing with the Beedrill, honestly.
Yeah, kind of just sitting there. The Pidgeotto and Pidgeot are getting put in the binder, but Pidgey is definitely going to be sleeved.
I would say the Pidgeotto is getting sleeved too.
Oh yeah, sorry, the Pidgeotto, yeah. The Rattata and Raticate, that's just bulk. It's getting put
binder.
It's getting put in the sleeve. Spearow and Fearow, kind of cute, but it's probably getting slid in the binder. Wow, I need to S and S. Oh, that's annoying. Arbok, the Arbok line, I feel like that's getting sleeved.
Yeah, I feel like it could be. It's definitely worth experimenting. I don't know if it'll stay sleeved, but it's gonna get sleeved up at the beginning at very least.
Yeah. Raichu, slide in the binder.
Yeah.
Sandshrew, I feel like it's at the in between, but it's probably gonna get slid into a sleeve.
Yeah,
it depends on how relevant like Palpad and stuff is, because it only stops the effect of them shuffling in from items and supporters. So.
Yeah.
And it's trainer cards too, so it's not like you can't cancel out Super Rod. That'd be clutch if you could. The Nidoran the Nido Queen and Nido King line, I feel like that's just gonna get, slid in the binder.
I feel like it's like another middle ground thing that I could see people messing with, but it probably won't stay sleeved for long.
Yeah, that's fair. Clefairy and Clefable, kind of middle ground. It could be fun, but it's probably gonna be put in the binder. Ninetales, I think right now I'm gonna say personally, slide in the binder or slide in the slide in the binder. And then with you were talking about it, so I feel like you might be, sleeving it.
It's getting sleeved up for me. I'm gonna try it at bare minimum, but I could easily see it not staying sleeved.
Wigglytuff, we're sleeving that. 350 is no joke.
And you're hitting 180. It's good.
Golbat, that's getting slid in the binder.
Yeah.
Vileplume, we're sliding that in the binder.
Yeah, it has potential.
Yeah. Parasect, binder.
Yeah, I think the next sleeved card is probably Alakazam.
Yeah. I mean, going through all these, it's definitely
Alakazam is the next sleeve card.
Alakazam's getting sleeved. The Machamp line getting slid in the binder. Same with Victory Bell, slid in the binder. Slid in the binder for Tentacruel. Golem's getting slid in the binder.
Magneton is like a middle ground card.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna
Probably
I'm gonna sleeve Magneton up personally because I want to try it with Room.
Okay. That's fair.
Dodrio is getting sleeved.
Yeah.
Too
I think
good.
that card's good. Muck is like a middle ground for me.
It's in the.
I think that card could be good.
It's in the. It's getting put in the binder, but it's not. It's not gonna be lost in the binder. Cloyster terrible. Gengar terrible. These are all getting put in the binder.
The Electrode, I'm sleeving up the Electrode. That seems fun.
Electrode seems fun, so I'll sleeve that up. Execute and Executor.
Terrible.
We're sliding that in the binder. Same with the Marowak slide. Hitmonlee.
Hitmonlee's getting sleeved up for me. That thing is great in Ting-Lu.
But then they play Manaphy and you cry.
I mean, they have to search the man, because like that's the cool thing about the Hitmonlee is like
you force the search for the Manaphy.
Well, no, even against Ting-Lu, you're not incentivized to put Manaphy down because it like Ting-Lu places damage counter, so Manaphy doesn't do anything against normal Ting-Lu. So
That's
like,
fair.
Unless you see the Hitmonlee, then you know you're probably not grabbing Manaphy anyways, and even if you do, then I'll just go into
what
Ting-Lu,
happens first?
shut off
Damage.
The Manaphy.
What happens first? Damage, then actions, or actions then damage?
You do the damage first because it. Yeah, you do the damage and then switch.
Okay. Hitmonchan, that's getting slid in the binder. Lickitung, slide in the binder. Wheezing, we're gonna try it out. So
yeah, I think this has
sleeve it
some
up.
good potential.
If we had Will in format, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be funny.
The next coin flip you choose. Rhydon, getting not sleeved, getting slid in the binder.
The rest of this is
Chansey slid in the binder. Pretty underwhelming.
I think the next mentionable card is probably the Starmie.
Yeah, Starmie. We're gonna slide it in the binder for now.
Yeah.
But I could sleeve it up potentially. Jinx EX. I'm gonna sleeve that up because I want to try it.
For sure. Jinx is good.
I feel like that's just like an auto win again. Oh wait, no, never mind. Ha. I was about to say that's like an auto win against Mew, but you know, Fusion Energy stops it now.
Oh yeah, it does.
Let's see, Electabuzz, Magmar, and Pinsir, Tauros, all of this, we're sliding that in the binder. Ditto, slid.
Yeah.
The Vaporeons might be cute to have like an Evolutions deck, but I don't think it's good.
So, I'm gonna look at the fossil Pokemon in conjunction with their actual fossils. So
yeah, that's fair.
The Omastar is interesting because with the Helix fossil, your opponent can't play stadiums, and then you evolve into this, and they can't retreat.
Yeah.
So like maybe, the Kabuto takes 30 less. It's only got 60 HP as a fossil, so it kind of sucks. But at least you're putting this one on the bench anyways, because Kabutops can be on the bench. So I think that one's definitely getting sleeved. It's got the highest potential.
Yeah.
And then
the Aerodactyl.
Amber do?
I'm
checking real quick.
I think it was.
It's unaffected by abilities.
Yeah. So not the greatest.
No, yeah, I think the Kabutops is probably the only one worth trying out.
Considering I'm gonna play Reverum, Snorlax is getting sleeved up for me. The birds, they're not good. Zapdos might be decent, but I'm gonna put it in the binder for now. We're sliding that in the binder. Dragonite line, sliding that in the binder. Mewtwo. I feel like
Dragonite could have been cool.
Mewtwo, I feel like could be cool, a cool tech. But
I could see it being used every now and again.
I feel like it'd be most beneficial in something like Arc or something like in Lugia maybe. And the only reason I say Lugia is because you have access to double turbo. And I would only bench it against something that does an excessive amount of damage where it's going to KO itself coming back in. Like Giratina, for instance.
So actually, putting this in Lugia raises an interesting thing. Because you don't have to put double turbo on this. You could put like gift energy on this. And now your opponent gets super punished if they kill this. Because they're going to take their own damage back. And they're going to let you draw up to 7.
That's fair. And then you get the 2 prizes. And on top of that, you get the draw 1 if you have gift plus Lucky.
Yeah. So, or like, if you have gift plus V guard energy on this, depending on what's hitting into you, I don't know what, you know, hits not 130 naturally, but you could potentially tank it and make them have to hit you for more.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're taking more back.
No.
That's interesting.
No, they don't take more back because it puts damage counters on the attacking Pokemon equal to the damage done to this Pokemon, not the damage on Mewtwo.
Well, yeah. So I'm saying like, rather than them hitting 130, well, yeah. Okay, so I guess it's the same.
So like if they hit, let's say for some weird instance you find a way to buff this Mewtwo to like 300, right? If a Tina hits you for, or okay, if you survive a hit from a Giratina, God forbid, somehow, some way, and okay, let's say Giratina has 310, right? They're putting two. Oh wait, I was thinking if it was knocked out. Ignore my whole comment. I was thinking if Mewtwo was knocked out, you only put damage counters, but it's either way. It's if it survives or doesn't.
I was gonna say, if this thing gets hit for weakness, so like imagine Moltres hits into this for 190 and then doubles to 380. The Moltres is taking 380.
Yeah, that's solid. Mew EX, it's cute. I don't think it's good. I think it's cute. I think it's gonna be a chase card because I'm sure there's different arts.
Especially the alt art.
Yeah.
That alt art having the rising sunset, that is insane.
I'm sliding that in the binder. Big balloon. I'm gonna mess around with it, so I'll sleeve it up. Bill's transfer, I'm gonna sleeve up. I want to try it in Guardy.
I like this card. I am excited to play with this card.
Cycling road. I'm gonna sleeve it up because I want to try it in like Guardy for extra draw.
It has its places here and there.
Daisy's help. Not good.
I don't think it's that good.
Energy seal, not good.
Not really.
Erica's invitation. I'm gonna sleeve this up, but I feel like I'm gonna suffer from it because I have the worst luck in the world when it comes to situations like this.
Yeah, I think this card is being overhyped, but I could see it being decent.
Worst case, you get knowledge of your opponent's hand. Best case, you get to get a free 2 prizes off of Luminion or something. Then we have Giovanni's Charisma. It's a good disruption card, so I'm gonna sleeve this up for the factor of I'm gonna build Sanders' deck and whatever he plays with this.
Yeah, I like this card.
Leftovers as a tool and what it does, I'm gonna slide this in the binder, but for the aspect of it being a tool that can get back with Snorlax for Reveroom and Electrode, I'll sleeve it up. Other than that, it's not getting used. Yeah. You know what though? Hold on. Leftovers could... Oh, never mind, no. If it healed in between turns, I would say leftovers would be good inside of like Skeleturge, but it's only at the end of your turn.
That is the exact same thought I had.
We already went over the fossils. Rigid Band.
I think that card's good.
I think it's good. I think being able to put like a stage 1, EX to, or a state, like this pretty much gives all of your V-stars. No, it's not V-stars, it's stage 1. I don't know what card it'd be good with, but I know it'll be good.
I mean, it gives Toad Scroll extra damage buff.
That's fair. Safety goggles. You'll sleeve it up only if your deck struggles because of weakness.
Yeah.
And then Snatch Arm. I don't know. I'm in between with it.
Yeah.
It depends on the deck if I'm gonna sleeve it or not.
I think it's the deck and the meta.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it. Overall 151 offers a lot of new cards, a lot of new mechanics that, we haven't seen in a while, a lot of new decks that can come out in archetypes, but
I was actually pleasantly surprised with how much is in this set that I want to mess around with.
Yeah. I don't think that it's going to be meta defining though. I think it's going to be more tech defining when it comes to decks like a lot of decks are going to tech certain cards that are in this, but there's no archetype in here that's going to be like perfectly solid to where it shifts the meta the way other decks have. So
I think the one that has the highest potential actually might be Ninetales.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the other like EXs are like the Charizard is just a supplementary piece, and then like everything else just can't really be built around consistently.
The other archetype like would be the Jinx and the Hypno, but I feel like that's about it. So
Yeah, so there's
Hey,
not a lot of like new
yeah,
archetypes.
things might have their own like idea base, but you're still gonna use certain archetypes. Like
Mhm.
Blastoise, for instance, you're gonna use the or you're gonna use Chimpow to search the energy, and then you'll probably use Blastoise to, I mean, Baxcalibur to accelerate to the Blastoise. So,
Mhm.
um, but I know you like Ninetales. You want to embrace your inner Chinchudiki, so um, but I think that's it. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you more than anything in the world. If you've watched all of this and sat through for an hour and 35 minutes just hearing us talk about any and everything, I appreciate you. Just know that I will forever be grateful for the support. But otherwise, if you did make it this far, you just skipped to the end. Thank you for watching the time that you did. If you did enjoy this episode, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We'll have videos like this out every time a full set gets released, so we'll go over it. And yeah, do you have any closing things, Zach?
Um, yeah, this set looks really exciting. I'm, you know, pretty pumped to try things out. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments what your favorite card is. There's so many options for people to mess around with things, so I would love to engage in a discussion with anyone about any card from here. But yeah, other than that, I had a good time. I hope you guys did too. And
Yeah.
I hope to see you guys sometime in the future.
Alrighty, I think that's it. So we'll wrap it up here. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on next week's deck video. Later.